And the prodigal son, you know the story, right? There's a father that has great wealth, and his younger son comes to him and says, I want my inheritance. I want my way. I want to do things, according to my plan. And so the father allows him to do that. And he goes off and very quickly squanders his wealth, finds himself at the rock bottom moment where he's even desiring to eat the pig slop in front of him because he has nothing. And that's often the story we think about. But there's another component to that story. The older son who stays home, does what he's supposed to do, takes care of business, is, thankfully waiting around doing what he's supposed to do. The younger son hits rock bottom and realizes that, hey, my father maybe will allow me to be a servant in his household. Maybe my father has some level of grace toward me. Let me just go find out. I have nowhere else to go. He reaches, kind of this point of spiritual poverty where he has nowhere else to go. And so he comes home, right? And the father, what does he do? The father's waiting for him. The father is longing for his son to come home. He's looking down the horizon thinking maybe my son will be returning home to me. And so the son comes home and the father runs out and welcomes him with open arms and reestablishes him as the son, right? The robe and the sandals and the ring that he puts on him just confirm that he's been reestablished as the son with an inheritance. But the part of the story that I don't know we talk about often enough is what is the older son. What happens to him? He gets angry. He's like, hey, look, I've been here doing what I'm supposed to do all along. Why don't you throw a party for me? Why don't you get excited about what I'm doing? And the father says, look, you've always been here. I've always had you here. My son was lost, and now he's found. And the beautiful story of the prodigal son is that all of us are continually either the older son or the younger. Right? We're either wayward and we're chasing after everything other than Christ, and we're taking what he gave us and using it for any selfish means we can find, or we're the other son who's trying to follow the rules, who's trying to do what's right, who's trying to live according to a standard, who's trying, to be the good person. But the story of the prodigal son is that neither had anything of value if it were not for the father's gracious inheritance that he lovingly provided. Do we see that this morning? That's what Jesus needs the Pharisees to understand as he gave the Sermon on the Mount. But friends, it's the same message that we must understand today. Whether I'm wayward and running in the opposite direction, or whether I'm striving to be the best person I possibly can be, makes no difference. I have absolutely no hope if it were not for Jesus Christ being in me, right? Bringing me about the inheritance that only he can bring, establishing the relationship that was ruined by sin, but healed by the blood of Jesus Christ.